certificate of appropriateness for replacement of an existing steel front door with a natural wood door. Harb recommended approval of the application as submitted.
Thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions from council on these COAs? Are any of the applicants present that would like to speak? Any public comment on these COAs? All those in favor? Aye. Any nays? Motion passes. Okay, moving on to the fire report. Assistant Chief Weaver? You usually sit over there, so sorry.
I wanted to make sure people had seats, so. All right, thank you for having me tonight. I do apologize, Chief Forsyth is not in attendance. This is one of the few times he does leave the town. He's on vacation. It is very few occurrences that occurs at all. He did submit the report for the month of June. The report, in summary, does have 16 emergency responses in Newtown Borough, as well as 28 fire safety inspections as well. One thing I did want to add that's not in the report is a reminder, sadly, in the Bucks County area, specifically even around us right here, there's been a lot of close to, near, or actual drownings in people's private pools. So I just wanted to make sure I could talk to the residents and, of course, council members who are present. If you either have a pool, make sure you're following proper safety procedures, have your children monitored, or in the right safety equipment. Even if you're going to a pool party, that's been a problem that's been coming up. You know, do not rely on others to be watching any children or people need to be attended to. Sadly, that's been creeping up this summer. It seems like we've had more than usual. So I just want to take the time to make sure I express that to the council as well as residents to make sure people are going to try to be as safe as possible. So even though you don't have a pool, if you're going to someone else's house, even if you're not outside, please be very vigilant because sadly, of course, you can imagine these are children that we're dealing with those. I can say we haven't had one here, knock on wood, God willing, but I just wanted to make sure I shared that with you.
Thank you very much.
That's all we have. Unless you have any questions.
Does anyone have any questions?
Actually, I just have a couple things. First and foremost, I wanted to thank you guys for the invite to the awards and barbecue ceremony. I appreciate it. I just wanted to recognize, I know the work session, we told Chief we wanted to recognize him, but then I was told, I guess he's on vacation, but they recognized 10 members, 5 to 55 years of service within this department. Chief Forsyth, 50 years of service, and he was thanked by the members for his dedication and leadership. You guys got him some nice stuff to remember that. Firefighter Joey Martindale Jr. presented the Bucks County Fire Chiefs Firefighter Scholarship Award, which I think was only awarded to 3 individuals, right? So that's tremendous. President's Award, Chris Jones, and Chiefs Award, Brendan Jennings. So congratulations again to all of those, and thank you for inviting me over. It was a good time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Burke. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
Okay, Chief Sabbath, police report. This feels so loud.
Evening, Council, Mayor, guests. The Police Department in the month of June had a total of 236 calls for service. We investigated 6 traffic accidents, none of which had any serious injuries involved with them. Had a number of incidents of fraud, which we've been working on trying to clear some of those. Continue to have a big emphasis on traffic enforcement. We are currently working under a Bucks County Highway Safety Grant, which began on July 8th and runs through August 17th. But for the month of June, prior to that, we had 77 traffic stops resulting in 49 citations. Most of them involve speeding and running of red lights. We're currently still experiencing some problem with kids on e-bikes, riding through the borough, riding on the sidewalks, riding on the streets, riding through traffic lights. So we've been trying to educate them as best we can when we do have contacts with them. That's basically all we have for this report.
Thanks, Chief. Anyone have any questions, Chief?
I do, actually. Actually, it was good timing, but the police department received a note from Council Rock School District, and it says, "Dear Chief Sabbath and team, thank you for all you do for Council Rock School District. The Newtown Borough Police Department is a good partner and friend to Council Rock. I'd like to highlight Jimmy. On Thursday night, he played a critical role in getting an employee out of an elevator when the power was lost. He was also instrumental in getting lights from the fire department, thank you, fire department, so that he could hold a very important board meeting. Thanks to Jimmy, you and your entire team for taking such great care of Council Rock. Sincerely, Andy and team. So Andy Sanko wrote a nice little note, so thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you. Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Chief. Okay, John, back to you.
Oh, okay. All right, so we have 3 motions and a couple special event reminders. The first motion I'll be looking to get approval on is to approve the Turkey Trot 5K run. I'm sorry, Turkey Trot 5K run sponsored by Boss Events to benefit the Bucks County Heroes Scholarship Fund in honor of Brian S. Gregg, Thursday, November 27th, 9 to 11 a.m. along a designated race route. There is no rain date. Okay, so that's the first motion.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
A second.
Okay, any comments or questions from council on this event? Any public comment? When you get up to the podium, please state your name and whether or not you are a borough resident for our record. Thank you.
Yeah, my name is John O'Brien. I'm with the Bucks County Roadrunners. I am not a borough resident. With me is Richard Knack. We're here on behalf of the Bucks County Roadrunners. We put on a Thanksgiving race right from Summit Square, about a mile away. Everything is set up kind of at the same time. So our concern is this would diminish our race as well as make it much more difficult for the race for Brian Craig to succeed. We would like to see if there's any way that you could reconsider the date and we could possibly help with a donation to his fund on top of helping to promote the race if it's on a different date, rather than have to compete with the race.
Do you want to address that at all? Or?
And I think maybe was Richard I sent the email to? Yes. I mean, I've run in your race. I think it's a fantastic race. I did reach out to the police department. I did express your concern. I did ask if we could either even just put it on the Saturday and not on Thanksgiving itself. Their thought was it is for Brian specifically, and it's a smaller community-based race for his family and friends to come that would be off. And they felt that that was the most appropriate date. That's kind of how it was left, and you know, I kind of relayed that back to you, so that's going to be a decision, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name's Richard Knack. I am not a resident of Newtown Borough. I'm a resident of Newtown Township. And first off, I'd just like to say that we are in full support of honoring the memory of Officer Gregg. All of us were around 20 years ago, and this is not about Officer Gregg or honoring him or his family. This is really about an event that's been put on for 34 years running at this point, that has gained a lot of community involvement. The race that we put on over at Summit Square Shopping Center gives back to the community. All of the proceeds from our race, all of them, 100%, go towards charity partners, one of which is the Advocates for the Homeless and Those in Need. It goes towards helping homeless people in our community. The other one is the Give a Christmas Foundation. The Kiwanis Club gives out gift certificates to needy families at Christmas time. Last year, we donated $9,500 to both of those organizations from our race. So again, the thought here is that this is a lose-lose situation if you approve the application for the other race, right? Our race loses some of the charity money that we give away 100% of, and the race in the borough is going to have a hard time getting any traction when we're right across the street having 1,000, 1,200 runners come to our race. So, of course, the race is going to get a few runners if it happens on Thanksgiving, but not like it would if it were on a different day. I'd also just like the supporters that came from the Bucks County Roadrunners to stand up, show the support for us here tonight. We have just a small contingency of some of the people that are involved in our race. Our organization is 100% volunteer. No one gets paid. No one draws any money from that race or anything that the club does. So we're involved in a lot of things in the community, and I'd just like to say that if the Craig family or the Newtown Borough Police wanted to have a discussion with the Bucks County Roadrunners, we'd be more than willing to discuss any way that we could help, support the cause, or involve them in our race if that's what had to happen. So that's why we're here tonight. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sure.
So by the borough approving or not approving this particular application, we're just approving whether an outside group can use our streets for a race. The borough does nothing to, it's not our event. It's another company that has come in and wants to use our streets. So yes, we charge them for that opportunity, and whatever they do is up to them. So it's, my question is, have you talked to the company that is running the other event? Because it's really up to them whether they, I mean, we could approve it tonight, and tomorrow you could come to an agreement that they cancel their race, and we don't care.
We have not, because we just found out, someone sent us the article 2 days ago. So I immediately, once we found out about the article, I emailed all of the council members
Right.
to express our concern and see if we could even possibly delay the vote so that there could be some more discussion about it with Boss Events. To be perfectly honest, our race is one of the biggest regional races in the area. So it's not uncommon for someone from an event organization who stands to profit from putting on a race to target a race like ours that draws 1,200 people, because they know they could probably get 100 or 150 or 200 runners to come and pay their fees, and they make a little bit of money off of that. So the answer to your question is no, we have not, but it's because we just found out 2 days ago.
Okay, well, and the race isn't until November anyway, so,
Did, hi, I'm Johnny King Marino. I am from Doylestown. I'm the president of the Bucks County Roadrunners. I have reached out to the event director, and he has not returned my call. The company Boss does supplies for runners. I've been purchasing things from them for years. They do run several other road races in the area. All are for profit. They don't donate their proceeds. I looked as extensively I could find. Their only donation they have made last year was the Bucks County Playhouse, or an in-kind donation by providing services to some of the races. So, their track record for donations it's not that great. I know that's not your concern. Your concern is do you give them a permit? But we have reached out, and we'd like, the relief we're asking for is just to delay the approval so that we have time to discuss with them and see if we can create some kind of partnership. I will tell you, as a president of this club for so many years, I try to save race directors from themselves, because they think that they can get some popsicle sticks, a couple of trophies, and some T-shirts and attract runners. And they frequently lose money in their first few years, which would mean that officers' family would not receive any funds whatsoever. So what we're asking is just a delay of vote so that we have an opportunity to discuss a partnership with them, or another date. That way, it will give us some negotiating power. Once you give them approval, there's no stopping it, in my opinion. So if we could just ask for a delay so we have an opportunity to negotiate with that group, I think that would be a reasonable request.
I have a question for council. Have you all, at the last work session, I was out of the country, have you all spoken with this event coordinator?
John has.
Did they show up to the work? Can you tell me a little bit more about the event, since I'm hearing a lot of conversations about for-profit versus nonprofit, and just
This-
curious?
You can hear me, right? This is on? Yeah. This is set up by our local police department. That's who's driving it. So they're in memory of Greg. They do have a Boss Events who's coordinating the actual event itself. But the idea is to put this race together to raise money in his name and donate to a scholarship fund.
Thank you, John. That clarifies a lot. Thank you.
So, may I? So, certainly, I think we're all hearing your concerns. That being said, at the borough level, we don't have a reason to deny this application. It's an appropriate application, And it serves a good cause that has something to do with the borough. So there's obviously a conflict then between the two organizations and the two runs. But we're not in a position to address that, and I don't think we're in a position to, in my opinion anyway, to delay the vote as much as we hope that there could be a meeting of the minds and whatever could be worked out so that each of the events could be as successful as possible. But I'm not seeing that the borough has a role in that. If we approve this, we can also approve a change in the venue or the date at some future time if that were the decision of the applicant.
Thank you, Chris. Any additional public comment on that?
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Stacey McCowan. As you can see, I'm a member of the Bucks County Roadrunners. I'm a Newtown Township resident, not a borough resident. I'm one of the first to always back the blue, especially when there's stuff going on all across America and people are trashing police officers. I stand up and support them. I have several friends that have police officers in their family. But I've also personally been supported by the Bucks County Roadrunners, as has my family. When my husband and I were struggling financially, they donated memberships to us. My husband also directs the Bookin' for Lookin' race, and they always, always, always supply a team to us. So when they say they would support this race if it was changed to a different date, I truly believe it, and I myself would step up to volunteer leading up to the race. My family personally is not usually around Thanksgiving weekend, so I don't want to commit to volunteering that day of the race, whether it's Thursday or Saturday. So if you do approve it tonight, if you could approve it with an amendment, so the folks that already motioned, if you could amend your motion based on Robert's rules and say, we will accept it pending a new date, I would greatly appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any additional public comment? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes. Thank you. John?
Okay, thank you. Looking for a motion to approve the Newtown Library Company 5K on Market Day, Saturday, October 4th, from 8:30 to 10 a.m., beginning and ending at 114 Center Avenue, along a designated race route, no rain date.
Thank you.
So moved?
Thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any comments or questions from council on this application? Any public comment on this application? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes.
Okay, thank you. A motion to approve the display of purple ribbons on the decorative light poles on State Street, sponsored by A Woman's Place, September 27th through November 1st.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from council on this application? Any public comment on this application? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes.
Thank you. A couple special event reminders. The Antique Car Show, sponsored by the Newtown Business Association, on Sunday, July 20th, from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. on State Street between Jefferson Street and Center Avenue. Rain date is July 27th. So that's the car show. And then we have a reminder that's ongoing music on State Street, sponsored by the Opus Outreach Foundation, Thursdays through August 28th, at 16 South State Street from 6 to 7:30 p.m. with no rain dates. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Burke. Okay, Greg, moving on to your report. Our applicants for 110 are here, so we're going to move that up first, which is the motion to adopt final land approval for 110 North State.
Yes, so the first item under my report would be related to the final land development approval, which is adoption of Resolution 716-2026C related to 110 North State. This was previously received preliminary approval from council several months ago. They have worked through the final approval process and have received a recommendation from the Planning Commission for approval, as well as certain additional waivers. I can turn it over to Michelle for additional commentary.
Should I go over each of the new waivers, or?
I would say if council has any specific questions on any specific waiver, unless someone on council wants to hear all of them, that's fine with me.
I was going to suggest that the whole resolution be read.
Okay,
Do you want me to do it?
sure?
Okay.
I'm sorry, just one correction, it's Resolution 7/16/2025.
See, yes.
Thank you. I read it right.
Yes.
Let's not time travel yet.
Okay.
I apologize, Councilor Waldo, if you'll have to give me a second to pull up the resolution. I was not prepared.
She has it. She's
I'll
gonna.
just- I'll pull it up. See what
Okay.
it says. I'll make sure I have the final edits. What, can you at least note the waivers that are additional while I pull this up?
The one waiver that you haven't seen yet was a comment in our last review letter, and it is from Subdivision Land Development Ordinance Section 486-18D, and it is a waiver to permit the side lot lines not to be substantially at right angles to the street line.
Now I'll recite and try to move as expeditiously as possible. If anybody needs me to slow down, please let me know. This is Resolution number 7/16/2025C before the Newtown Borough Council, applicant 1 State Street Associates LP for the property 110 North State Street, parcel number 28-002-033 for final land development approval. Be it resolved, the council grants conditional final approval of applicant's land development application, parcel number 28-002-033, and plans titled Patriot Place 110 North State Street, sheets 1 of 11 through 11 of 11, prepared by Dumac Engineering, dated on October 5th, 2023, and last revised on June 9th, 2025. The plan, proposing the demolition of a certain existing 2-story dwelling and subdivision of 3 parcels of lots for construction and new associated improvements. This conditional approval is subject to applicants satisfying the following conditions prior to the plan's recording. 1, complying with all applicable borough review letters and emails as amended, including CKS Engineers Review Letter, Final Plan Review dated July 1st, 2025, Barry Izett and Associate Inc.'s Review Letter dated June 16th, 2025, Newtown Fire and Emergency Services Review Letter dated April 14th, 2025, Shade Tree Commission Review Letter dated April 29th, 2025, Newtown Sewer Review email dated November 19th, 2024, Bucks County Planning Commission Review Letter dated December 20th, 2023, and Bucks County Joint Municipal Authority Engineers Review Letter dated November 20th, 2024. 2, signing the borough's required land development documentation prepared to the satisfaction of the council. 3, posting financial security for all public improvements shown on the plan to the satisfaction of the borough's engineer and solicitor in accordance with the borough's required land development documentation. For the purposes of this approval, the term public improvements includes but is not limited to streets, streetlights, parking areas, drive aisles, curbs, water mains, sanitary sewer systems, underground seepage beds, best management practice, and appurtenances, grading, erosion, and settlement control, lighting, required trees, shrubs, and landscaping buffering, monuments, pins, line striping, driveway aprons, and sidewalks. 4, obtaining approval from the Department of Environmental Protection Planning Module for Land Development. 5, receipt of all applicable permits having jurisdiction over this project, including but not limited to those from the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation and the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection. 6, paying all project-related costs and fees when due, including borough consultant and solicitor fees, subject to the following. Be it further resolved that the following waiver was granted at applicant's request at preliminary plan approval based on size and scope of the project as follows. 1, Section 486-23.A, a waiver to permit only 1 street tree where 3 are required, utilization of 1 existing tree, and the offering of a fee in lieu of the 3rd tree. The Borough Shade Tree Commission calculates a fee in lieu for the street tree deficiency in the amount of $750. Be it further resolved that the following waiver previously deferred to preliminary plan approval is now granted at final plan approval as follows. 1, Stormwater Ordinance Section 473-11K, a waiver to permit dewatering time of 8 hours for the proposed dry well, whereas 24 hours is the minimum required dewatering time for stormwater facilities. Be it further resolved that the following waiver is now granted at final plan approval as follows. 1, Subdivision and Land Development Ordinance Section 486-18D, a waiver to permit the side lot lines not to be substantially at right angles to the street line. Be it further resolved that this plan approval is
I guess, should we be approving this?
All right. And somehow,
Speak loudly.
somehow the microphones are still working. Be it further resolved, this final plan approval is subject to the following additional condition listed: zoning ordinance section 550-18F3D, a revision confirming that the new driveway depression width at North State Street to show a maximum width not to exceed 12 feet unless applicant provides written confirmation of a different driveway width requirement from the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation, PennDOT. Be it further resolved that conditions A through T as specified in the preliminary plan approval have been addressed to CKS engineer satisfaction. Be it further resolved that the condition previously represented at preliminary plan approval as condition D regarding revised plans, including streetlights aesthetically consistent with the streetlights on South State Street between Washington Avenue and Center Avenue, is now granted at final plan approval. We'll note that this resolution shall become effective on the date upon which all of the above stated conditions are acknowledged and accepted by the applicant in writing below. If for any reason applicant fails to sign the acknowledgement and acceptance below within 10 days from this resolution's date, then the applicant's conditional approval granted herein shall become null and void and the waivers requested shall be deemed denied, and the subdivision application and plan shall be denied for failure to comply with the borough's zoning and/or subdivision and land development ordinances for the reasons cited herein or as set forth in the review letters referenced above and attached to this resolution, duly presented and adopted by council at a duly advertised public meeting held this 16th day of July, 2025.
Thank you.
Could you repeat that, please?
It's
So I believe there
updated.
were additional comments that were made, that were, and I'm just not sure the status of the upload to the share file. Was that acceptable, though? Or is there any comments on the resolution?
I do have comments, but do we have to second it and then discuss it?
Yeah.
I thought we had done that already. Go ahead.
Okay. All right.
Got ahead of myself.
Well, we need a motion.
All right, I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 716, 2025C. For final land development approval for 110 North State Street.
Thank you. I have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second?
Thank you. Okay, Julia, go ahead.
Yes, so took notes as fast as I could when you read things. I did have one question regarding streetlights. I know the Planning Commission looked at the streetlights that were proposed by the applicant, and they liked them. But HARB has to review and approve any light fixtures on any property. So should that comment be included in in this resolution that subject to HARB's approval?
This wouldn't waive HARB's jurisdiction, but I see no harm in including that in the resolution in the paragraph, the last resolved paragraph that relates to the streetlights aesthetically consistent with the South State Street streetlights.
Okay, so the question is, though, what they proposed was similar to what is in front of the movie theater, which is not the same as what's on South State Street. So the decision that would need to be made by HARB, and I guess council, is since we have no real standard in Newtown, people said, oh, we have those here, we'll just put them there. Is the intent that North State Street was going to be mimicking what's in front of the theater? Or is North State Street going to be an extension of South State Street and therefore have decorative light poles that match them?
So the Planning Commission's condition and their review of this as a recommendation, it's ultimately up to council to make that determination. If what was proposed is the ones in front of the theater,
Yes.
that the Planning Commission liked, council can agree with that, or
Well, typically, we would wait for a COA.
it would still go to HARB.
Right.
I think that your point about expressly stating that this is subject to HARB's review is important.
Yes.
Even though, whether it's in there or not, it wouldn't waive that obligation from the applicant.
Right, I just want to make sure the applicant doesn't say, oh, well, we researched this light, we're going to go out and buy it now. You said it was okay, planning commission liked it. So that's leaving something out. The other part of the process is that they're demolishing buildings, so they would need to go to the Joint Historic Commission for approval of the demolitions. And that, I know, is part of receiving a building permit, but we are approving a subdivision land development plan that includes demolition without having had that review.
So this wouldn't, yes, the concept plan does contemplate the demolition, but doesn't approve the demolition. Your code enforcement officer would not issue a demolition permit without the JHC review, as that's required in the ordinance for this property. But if it's council's preference to have it specifically stated that this property would require JHC review, we can amend that in the resolution.
I would like to see that.
I don't think there's any harm in it.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Any other comments or questions from council?
I would just ask that, I know there's maybe public comment, but after the public comment, to make sure that we amend and second with those two revisions.
Yes, I know. Thank you. I see the applicant is present. Do you have anything you would like to say?
Thank you, members of the council. My name is Jeff Daly. On behalf of the applicant, I'm standing in for my colleague, George Asimos. We agree with the resolution as drafted with the amendments that you've discussed. We have no issue with those and happy to comply. We have not purchased the lights yet. We're happy to work with you, with the appropriate folks at HARB and others to make sure that the lights are satisfactory. That would be our preference as well. So as you guys have stated, with the appropriate amendments, we're fine with passage of the resolution. So I have nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any public comment? Okay, then.
Nicole Rodowitz, 135 Liberty Street. Planning Commission definitely would like council to make a recommendation for lights in the future, and that's was part of the hope. So we had no intention of those specific lights, like that's what we want by any means, but there should be some standard set at some point. Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole. Any other public comment? Okay, so Julia, do you want to amend your motion?
I will amend my motion.
Where's the amended second? Is that you, Josh?
Second,
Was that you?
amended second. Yes, it was.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes. Thank you very much.
One additional item, I believe, is the planning module, which I believe is separately listed on the agenda.
Yes.
I think that would just tag along with the appropriate vote, but I'll leave that all to you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
We'll do that now as well.
We can do it now. There's no reason not why we
I
can't.
guess engineering is recommending that council approve the 110 North State Street sewage planning module, and I'll turn it over to Michelle.
Yeah, thank you.
It actually, the sewage facilities planning module has to be approved, if it will be approved by council by way of a resolution. So if you deem that it is appropriate, the resolution number would be 7-16-2025D. And I would suggest that there be a motion to approve the 110 North State Street sewage facilities planning module and have all appropriate council sign the module as marked.
Do I have a motion? It's a play if you need to clarify how to say it.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 7/16/2025D of the sewage planning module for 110 North State Street. And then, do I have to add the other thing? No, that was just a side comment.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
Any comments or questions from council on the sewer planning module? Any public, any additional comment? No? Any public comment? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes.
So I would, like I asked Michelle before, about are there any EDUs left now that we've approved this one?
No.
To my knowledge, no, there are none.
So, okay.
Yep.
No more toilets.
No more toilets in the borough. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming. Okay,
Next item on the solicitor's report is the public hearing for ordinance number 806. This ordinance would establish regulations for the operation of mobile food vendors within the borough. This defines mobile food vendors, mobile food units and hosts, and outlines permit requirements, performance regulations, insurance obligations, and enforcement measures. This has been discussed significantly at previous work sessions, there's specific rules for residential business and special event hosts. Additionally, this amends Chapter 550 of the Borough Code, which is the zoning ordinance, to modify the specific prohibition on outdoor sales from temporary vending vehicles, which would have a carve-out for this mobile food vendor provisions to allow these particular. This was, so the first would be a motion to open that hearing.
I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second?
Thank you. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes.
Now that the hearing is opened, I'll mark some exhibits. Exhibit 1 would be the copy of ordinance number 806. Exhibit 2 would be a copy of the notice that was published in the Bucks County Courier-Times twice in accordance with the municipality's planning commission. And I'll also note for council's benefit that this was transmitted to both the borough's planning commission previously, as well as the Bucks County Planning Commission. To my knowledge, we received no comments.
Thank you.
So are there any questions from council on, questions or statements from council on 806?
Do we need a motion to adopt it?
We're within the hearing. So
Oh, it's in the hearing, okay, okay. Well, as you know, I've spent a lot of time with Josh working on this ordinance for the last more than a year, right?
15 months?
Maybe. So, yeah, so it looks like it's an acceptable form now, so we can close this chapter.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Yeah, just for the public, I'm glad that we have some parameters now set for the operation of food trucks within our borough. I think it raises the bar for safety standards for everyone regarding food and the actual safety of the vehicles. So I'm happy about this ordinance.
There's no other comments from council. We can take public comment at this time.
Okay. Any public comment on ordinance 806, mobile food vendors? Okay.
Seeing none, now would be appropriate to take a motion for adoption of the ordinance.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the mobile food vendor ordinance number 806.
Thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. And since we already took council comment and public comment, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes. Do we need to make a motion to close the hearing, or is that?
No.
Okay.
We're good.
I don't know.
The lights stay on now. The next item under this solicitor's report is the adoption and consideration of resolution 7-16 2025A, authorizing the condemnation of 22 Liberty Street, exercising the borough's power of eminent domain. As was discussed with council at the work session previously, there have been ongoing negotiations with the Newtown Fire Association over the continued use of 22 Liberty Street, which has served as the borough's police station for at least the last 25 years under a rental agreement. The lease on that property is set to expire this summer, within the next 30 days, and the ongoing negotiations have not produced an agreement to continue the use of the property. In order for the borough to ensure that the police department retains a headquarters and the ability to have the police department serve the borough and its residents, the use of eminent domain to acquire the building has been advanced to this meeting via this resolution. I would like to remind council and the public here assembled what eminent domain is. Eminent domain is the power of a municipality to acquire property for a public purpose. In this instance, the public purpose would be to house the borough's police department in that location. It is a process that begins tonight with the adoption of this resolution. This resolution empowers the borough to enter the eminent domain process, which includes a series of filings after this in order for the borough to acquire the property. The acquisition of a property through eminent domain transfers the title to the borough, but it also requires the borough to compensate the property owner what's called just compensation. Just compensation is defined as the fair market value of the property. That fair market value is initially established by certified appraisals, which are acquired and then support that just compensation at fair market value to the property owner. There is a process for disputing that amount, which is also supported by the appraisal process and what's called a board of viewers. But the purpose of this resolution this evening is to invoke the borough's authority to enter in that process and grant the authority to the borough's representatives, namely the solicitor, the manager, and the engineer, to prepare and file the necessary documentation. We will say that conversations between the borough and the Newtown Fire Association remain ongoing, and we would like the opportunity to resolve this without having to take the next step after this resolution. But the solicitor's office is recommending that council still adopt this resolution tonight so that we are prepared if the negotiations are not fruitful, to ensure that the borough's police department retains a headquarters. So at this time, in order to open up this process, I would recommend, Madam President, that a motion is made.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
Yes, I'd just like to start by saying I'll have more comments later after when we discuss it. Obviously, none of us are take this action lightly, and it's not our preferred course of action. But as the solicitor has indicated, it's the appropriate step to take at this point in time. So I move to adopt Resolution 7-16-2025A, authorizing the condemnation of 22 Liberty Street, exercising the borough's power of eminent domain.
Thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. To start out comments from council, I'm going to give a brief summary of lease negotiations with the Newtown Fire Association. On Monday, March 3rd, 2025, the Borough Fire Committee, consisting of myself, Councilor Phillips, Mayor Burke, and Manager Totaro, met with NFA trustees Warren Dallas, Chris Jones, and Ed O'Sullivan to discuss the lease of 22 North Liberty Street, which is set to expire in August 2025. During the meeting, the NFA presented a proposal for new lease terms, which they indicated were developed through, quote, professional consultation and internal review, end quote. During the discussion, Manager Totaro inquired whether the NFA had ever considered selling the property. At that time, the trustees confirmed they had not. It was also communicated to the borough that the NFA had no future plans for the use of the building beyond the current lease. As a municipal entity, the borough has a fiduciary duty to be fiscally responsible to its residents and taxpayers. In line with that responsibility, the borough solicitor commissioned a professional appraisal of the property through Indian Valley Appraisal Company. The appraisal was received on April 2nd, 2025, and it assessed the fair market value significantly below the NFA's interpretation of value presented in their lease proposal. At a follow-up meeting on Monday, April 21st, 2025, the borough formally offered to purchase the property from the NFA. This offer was made in the spirit of a mutually beneficial agreement, providing a permanent home for the Borough Police Department while allowing the NFA to receive a substantial financial return that could be reinvested into their operations. After that meeting, the NFA requested a copy of the borough's appraisal, which we shared with them in good faith on May 13th, 2025. The borough next received a letter sent on behalf of the NFA on May 22nd, 2025, which restated the original lease proposal, provided no room for negotiation, and advised that the NFA was not interested in selling the building at that time. Furthermore, it stated that if the borough did not accept their terms by June 30th, 2025, it would need to vacate the premises by July 31st, 2025. In response, the borough solicitor sent a letter dated May 30th, 2025, reiterating the borough's obligation to ensure that any real estate expenditures are fiscally justified and supported. The letter also noted that without a clear basis for the NFA's proposed rent increase, the borough could not responsibly evaluate or accept the lease. The borough reiterated its willingness to negotiate and suggested another meeting to reach a mutually acceptable resolution. On June 16th, 2025, the borough received another letter from NFA trustee Ed O'Sullivan. The letter once again restated the NFA's original lease terms and self-imposed deadlines with no indication of flexibility. As a final effort to resolve the matter, the borough requested one more in-person meeting, which was held on Wednesday, June 25th, 2025. At that meeting, the borough clearly stated that it could not agree to the proposed lease terms without a supporting appraisal, something the NFA had repeatedly declined to provide. We again express our willingness to purchase the property outright, renegotiate lease terms based on the borough's professional appraisal, or explore the possibility of eminent domain. Despite these efforts, the NFA maintained its refusal to negotiate, and unfortunately, this left council with limited options. Following the previous discussion, the borough addressed the status of the police station location during its work session on July 2nd, 2025. This included consideration of the potential use of eminent domain to acquire the property at 22 Liberty Street. As a result, an agenda item was advanced for today's business meeting to consider a resolution authorizing the use of eminent domain for that property. The borough understands that since the July 2nd work session, the NFA has publicly expressed its opposition to the borough's consideration of eminent domain. In response, and in a continued effort to once again pursue a collaborative resolution, the borough made yet another outreach to the NFA trustees via a letter dated July 15th, 2025, offering a 6-month extension of the current lease so that we didn't have to take this path. I open up to additional comments from council.
I'll offer a few more comments. As I said before, when I introduced the motion, this is a step that we are not, it's not our first choice in terms of taking it. Our first choice is to lease the property, and we remain hopeful that we can come to terms and lease the property. I think it's served, the arrangement can serve both the Fire Association and the borough well. And I sincerely hope that we can come to terms. With respect to acquiring the property, if necessary, I think the solicitor has made it clear that the Fire Association would receive fair market value. And then finally, with respect to our letter of, I guess it was yesterday, right, that we extend for 6 months, allowing perhaps a period in which we can come to terms. The borough did not simply say that we'll just keep the existing lease rate. We understand that there needs to be an adjustment, and we proposed that whatever that adjustment that gets negotiated could be then retroactive to the point of the extension, because it's not our intent simply to hold on to the building at the old lower rate. We understand that the rate needs to come to fair market, and so hopefully we've made that clear that we're trying to reach a fair negotiation with respect to the property.
Thank you, Chris. Any other comments from council?
I would also like for the public to be aware that the police department with the borough has made significant efforts to accredit the police station that we have, and it has a whole formal process, and for the past 25 years, we have been maintaining the building. So that's our history there.
Thank you, Josh. Julia?
Yeah. So acquiring this property by eminent domain is a last resort. It's a decision I don't take lightly, and one that I'd hoped I would not have to make. It is unfortunate that to date, the borough and the NFA have been unable to come to an agreement over this matter. It is important that the borough and the NFA maintain good relations, but it is even more important that the borough do its due diligence and exercise responsible fiscal management of taxpayers' money. Obtaining this property by eminent domain does not abandon the NFA, nor its firefighting capabilities. The NFA would be amply compensated, giving them a large sum of money all at once, an amount that would take many years of rental income to accumulate. A lot of money that, if properly invested and managed, would help support the NFA needs for many years to come. Borough Council is responsible for the health, safety, and welfare of the town, which means making sure that the police force is adequately headquartered so they can do their job.
Thank you, Julia. Any additional comments from council?
I just want to say that, just to reiterate what everyone is saying, none of us are taking this lightly. We take it very seriously, and we hope to come up with a good resolution that keeps everybody happy and where they are.
I also want to agree with what everyone has said, and that despite the fact that we are taking this step, that the door is still open for us to hopefully come to a resolution that, that serves both the NFA and the borough and the police department.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from council? Public comment.
I would just remind anybody who's looking to make public comment on this issue and all issues this evening that the borough, in its policy, does, as reiterated at the top of the agenda, has a 5-minute limit on comments in order to keep the meeting efficient, but giving ample time for everybody to be heard. And that public comment is not an opportunity for questions and answers with council. It's an opportunity for the individuals to present their viewpoint on the issue being considered. Thank you.
Thank you. Please.
Thank you, Counselor. My name is Bill Wise. Address, 14 Liberty Street, Newtown Fire Association. Good evening, council members, borough officials, and fellow community members. I'm a retired insurance industry executive with over 36 years of experience. I'm also a proud member of the Newtown Fire Association for over 30 years. I currently serve on our executive board as the secretary. I also served our country honorably in the United States Marine Corps during the 1970s at the end of the Vietnam War. Enough of that. I'm speaking tonight on behalf of the Newtown Fire Association, a proud volunteer organization that has served this town with distinction, sacrifice, honor, and integrity for 136 years. We are here tonight, not by choice, but out of necessity. Because what's happening behind closed doors is an affront, not only to our organization, but to the very fabric of public service and volunteerism in Newtown. Let's be clear, the Newtown Fire Association is not a developer. We're not a private landlord. We are your neighbors, your first responders, your community partners. We're the ones who put ourselves in harm's way. We're the ones that get up at 3 o'clock in the morning when lightning strikes and people are hurt. We are the very definition of community service. For over 25 years, we have leased 22 Liberty Street to the borough for use as a police station at a rent far below market value. Why? Because we believed in easing the financial burden on the borough because we believed in collaboration with emergency services, as we do every day, because we believed naively that we were working toward the same goal, protecting this community. When it became clear that our own operating costs were rising and that our volunteer department needed increased funding to sustain training, equipment, and response times, we proposed a modest fair market rent adjustment based on a third-party real estate assessment. Let me repeat that. We did not threaten eviction. We did not demand back pay. We simply asked the borough to pay what every other tenant in Newtown would be expected to pay. And instead of coming back to the table, instead of negotiating like partners, the borough initiated eminent domain proceedings to forcibly seize our property. That's not a partnership. That is not negotiation. That is an act of aggression and a betrayal of decades of goodwill. Let me ask, what message does this send to every volunteer who gives their time to protect this town? What message does it send to every civic group that works hand in hand with the borough out of love for Newtown? The rent we proposed wasn't for profit. It's to buy radios. It's to replace aging equipment, to maintain fire engines and the facilities that house them. It's to ensure that the next time your family has an emergency, we respond quickly, effectively, and safely. And now we're fighting not just fires, we're fighting our own local government. While we would hope the borough would reverse course, the first written response from the borough came just 28 hours before this meeting, leaving no time to present to our membership for consideration. Eminent domain should be the last resort in matters of vital public need, but not a shortcut to avoid lease negotiation. This is not a legal issue, it's a moral one. Because when you strip away the legal jargon, what's happening is simple. The borough's trying to take a building from a volunteer fire company so it doesn't have to pay fair rent. We invite all of you here tonight, residents, neighbors, supporters, and our mutual aid fire companies, to stand with us on this. Not because you're choosing sides in a contract dispute, but because you believe in fair play, because you believe in service, and because you want to see our emergency services thrive, not struggle. We remain open to good faith negotiation, but we cannot stand by quietly where our property, our funding, and our future are taken for us with no effort to negotiate in good faith. God bless Bucks County's bravest, God bless the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and God bless the United States.
Thank you. Do we have any additional public comment on this matter? Any additional public comment on this matter? Please.
Hi, I'm Diane LaBa, 104 Penn Street. I would say the issue before us all is not an issue of which organization is more worthy, the fire department or the police department. Do you want to get mugged or do you want to have your house burned down? That is not the issue. The issue is not about the wishes of a long-dead benefactor. The issue is the reasonableness of a real estate/business arrangement. That's what it's about. It's not moral. It's not a community crisis. It's numbers and calculations and the present value of whatever the borough is offering in exchange. So I think it's unfortunate that community organizations are arguing against each other, pretending to be more worthy. That is not the case. Get out the calculators, get out the computers, keep talking and do the numbers. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional public comment, please?
Hi, Caroline Bennett, Newtown Borough resident. So, Craig, good to finally meet you. You don't live here in the borough, is my understanding. And I'm curious about how much total time you've spent on the police station property so far in your positions as solicitor and as borough manager. You don't have to answer. I know this is not a Q&A period, but I am curious. Again, it's not Q&A, but I'm going to pose questions. By show of hands, how many of you have ever lived within 50 feet of a police station? By show of hands, how many of you would want to live within 50 feet of a police station? In the first block of Liberty, there are 7 private residences, all within approximately 200 feet of each other, and that's including where the police are located. Have any of you reached out to any resident in the first block of Liberty to ask what it's like to coexist with the police department? And by the way, I haven't heard anybody mention at all who's sitting up here, residents or neighbors of the police or the fire association. Doesn't even seem to be on your radar. I am in the unique position of knowing what it's like to live on the first block of Liberty for several years prior to the police department's arrival. And I believe I'm the only one who's in that unique position. There have been a revolving door of counselors over the years, so I'd like to share a few facts. Before the police station, 22 Liberty was in use by the fire association. Front Bay was used to store a secondary fire truck, so it was out on every call. Back Bay was used to store their antique fire truck, so it was taken out about a handful of times each year for parades or special events. Important point here, guys. There were no vehicles parked in the front or rear of the building, and the back driveway saw very little use by the fire association. Flash forward to the early 2000s, when the borough did not inform residents of their decision to move the police station, holding cell and all, from Borough Hall to the firehouse property. When several of us approached a councilman carrying boxes over to inquire about it, he said, and I quote, can recall to this day, "We were hoping to do it quietly." We, several of us, subsequently met with the police committee, mayor, and police chief. I have a letter from Borough Council from that meeting, and I'll just read a couple parts of it, the key ones. It was signed by Marcia Scull, president of council at the time. As discussed, the police will keep 2 marked vehicles in the rear of the property, and the private vehicle of on-duty officer and the secretary will be parked in the alley during their working hours only. And 1 vehicle will be parked in the front of the police station. That was the assumption that someone from the public would need to pull up and go into the police station at the time. Should we find a need to make any changes, the neighbors will be consulted. Now, there are 5 police vehicles, most of which park in the front, blocking the sidewalk, and up to 5 or even more vehicles parked in the rear, including police cars, private vehicles, township police cars, and on a rare occasion, an ambulance shows up. There has been no outreach at all to discuss any changes since that borough's 2001 letter. Now, let's switch gears. When a developer or business approaches you with their plans, you scrutinize their accommodations for parking. Take, for example, Alan Smith's Teepleview development plans, right? You ask, do they have enough parking spaces? What about the parking at 22 Liberty? There is not enough parking at 22 Liberty to safely conduct police operations. As far as I'm concerned, the borough sends the wrong message of do as I say, not as I do. Let's flash forward to 2005, when the borough decided to pave the driveway behind the private residences and the police station. Again, residents were not notified. Remember the letter from 2001 that we would be consulted on the changes? I came home from work that day and was greeted by a sea of asphalt behind my house. I have another letter from the borough. This one is from then-President Marge Taranjo, dated 2005. It, in part, says, the borough directed the contractor to pave the existing driveway and the stone gravel parking area on the police department lot. We inadvertently neglected to make it clear to the contractor not to pave behind the driveway path on the other properties. Now, I received a copy of the engineer's report, and it clearly had everything, which, by the way, borough would have had to approve at the time. Okay, so here, there continue to be other ongoing issues. Oh no, I skipped, sorry. I want to say this. There is a pattern with how the borough has treated
Excuse me,
residents.
Ms. Bennett, you are at 5 minutes.
Okay. I will have another opportunity, will I not? Or no?
There is another public to be heard at the end of the meeting.
Got it. I'll follow up with an email, because I have a lot more to say.
Thank you.
To contribute. Yep.
Appreciate it.
I'm Pam Moore. I live at 18 Liberty. The police are my neighbors, so are the firemen. The police have been great neighbors. We had a couple issues in the beginning when I first moved in, but we managed to take care of that. My concern now is with the council. The police station looks horrible. It has not been repaired. It has not been maintained. I have written letters. I've contacted some of you about issues with the drain pipes falling down and smacking into my house. I'm right next door. We share the alley. The grounds are not maintained. I know you've got problems with your maintenance crew right now, but that should be addressed with them. We shouldn't have to bear the brunt of it. And so, you know, I know you're making decisions about what's going to happen, and there's a lot to take into consideration. These guys need to have accreditation. They need to be taken care of. They do a good job. You guys, frankly, have done a lousy job as far as taking care of the building. And for that reason, I would support the firemen coming in because their building's gorgeous. They own it. They take care of it. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Pam. Any additional public to be heard? Please.
My name is Chris Brill. My wife and I live at 212 Washington Avenue in Newtown. Like everyone in this room, we love Newtown. So if the vote was about, do we love Newtown, the vote is unanimous, yes. If the question was, do we love the police department and the officers that serve there, again, it'd be 100% yes. We love the firefighters who work here, who devote their time and effort to save us. Again, it'd be 100% would be yes. I, along with everyone in this room, I'm sure, thank you for your service, especially you, sir. And there's a lot of emotion at the moment, and I can feel the emotion coming from you, and I honor that. However, I would just say, we're here, I hate to put it this way, but it's really just a business decision, and it's a question of what is fair value. I don't for a second think anyone in this room is trying to take advantage of anyone else. It wouldn't be very smart for a borough council person to do that. I think what they're trying to do is simply work out a fair price. And of course, the fire department wants to do the same thing. They need money for them to operate. But it's really not a question of how much money do you need to operate. The real issue is, what is the fair value of this property? That's the issue. And it should be an issue that people of goodwill should be able to resolve without going to court. I can say that because I'm a lawyer and I try to stay away from court as much as I can, because the court is the last resort. What you want to do is try to work out the best possible fair resolution, both parties getting decent appraisals, and then perhaps somewhere down the road, perhaps you might consider the possibility of mediation rather than court. But mediation requires people to come prepared. So each side would have to come prepared with a decent, thorough, and authoritative appraisal. So with that in mind, I would encourage everyone to, although honor the police, honor the firefighters, check your emotion at the door and just try to work this out rationally as a business decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Please.
Hi. I'm Eileen Malloy. I'm also a Liberty Street resident. Very familiar with both the police department and the fire company, and very grateful for all of the service. We have made use of all of their services in the over 30 years that we have lived here. I was surprised to see that this only came up in the July work session, and then to see it on the agenda for this meeting. I understand when you outlined all the times that you had met, that you have been meeting for a significant period of time, but this is something that we were not aware of. And I'm surprised when I see that also we've been hearing about, for example, the mobile food vendor truck for over a year. And we've heard about it and heard about it and heard about it and have been following it. Something as important as this, I would expect that we would hear a little bit sooner. I too feel that both services are extremely important to our community. We're a small town. We should be able to work together. Being a public school employee, I'm very familiar with mediation and arbitration. And I would hope that you could resolve this issue and that we could all work together. This is a great town. Let's work together. Thanks.
Thank you. Any additional public comment? Any further comments from council or?
I have a comment. I appreciate everyone sharing their thoughts this evening. That is really helpful for us, I think, sitting up here to hear from the public, to hear from other members of the NFA about how they feel about the property. We have sent over a letter asking for more time to negotiate. And I hope that after hearing from the residents, that you all will consider taking that serious step with us instead of us going down this path. But per my understanding, we have to adopt this resolution tonight to move forward as a procedural matter. So that's what I would like to say about that.
Thank you.
I appreciate the public's comments on behalf of council. I think I appreciate the comments from the last member of the public that recognize council's repeated requests to continue to negotiate and find a solution to this since March. I think it's also worth noting for council and the public, in the Newtown tradition, which I think is something unique to the borough, especially with a lot of surrounding municipalities, this was a council-led process. Residents that serve on council were negotiating with the residents who represent the Newtown Fire Association for many months. And it wasn't until the borough received a letter from an attorney representing the Newtown Fire Association in late May that the solicitor's office was involved. It has always been my experience representing council that this is something that is a neighbor-to-neighbor conversation, and that's important for council and continuing that borough tradition. The letter that was sent yesterday was not the first attempt. It was the last of several attempts for council to attempt to ask to come to the table again, to sit down and reiterate that council wanted to find a solution before moving in this direction. It was the fourth or fifth request for the NFA to come to the table and move off their initial number, which was not, which wasn't a modest increase. It was a several 100% increase over what council or the borough was paying for the rent at over the last period, with significant escalations every year. Should also note, for the borough's support of the fire services in this borough, the rent paid for the fire station is not the only contribution that the borough makes towards fire services. There is a donation payment made every year on behalf of the borough to the NFA to support their services, and there is a fire services agreement with the township to support Newtown Fire Rescue to ensure that all services are maintained, and the borough is doing its part to maintain that level of service. Do we want to?
Is everything okay back there? Okay. There's a water fountain around the right by the bathrooms. Would you like us to continue, or would you like us to take a little break? Okay, let us know if that changes.
So I just wanted to make sure that that was clear for council before
workers'
taking
comp.
this vote. Yes, it also funds the the workers' compensation insurance for, the borough funds the workers' compensation insurance for the entire volunteer force. Those are all the factors that I think council has previously considered. And to the last point about the public being aware, it was always my understanding that it was the borough's hope that this could be accomplished through conversations and that we wouldn't have to make it as a public process, as lease negotiations, these type of contract negotiations are not typically a public process. They are done neighbor to neighbor and then brought to the public when an agreement has been reached. So that was advanced only when the borough realized that there may be no other option than to continue this process. In response to Councilor Phillips' statement at the end, yes, this is a procedural vote to adopt the resolution. The resolution empowers the borough's professionals to move forward should it become necessary to actually acquire the property through the eminent domain process.
Greg, but to clarify, there is still, after this resolution, some time, or is there a reasonable amount of time to, for the other letters that have been sent?
There is plenty of time to change course.
Thank you, Greg.
Okay, if no more comments, I'll call a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes. Okay, moving on to the 26 South State Street appeal, settlement.
The next item on the solicitor's report, it's going to take a brief second.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, the final item on the solicitor's report this evening was discussed at the work session. It is a settlement of the appeal regarding a certificate of appropriateness for the installation of windows at 26 South State Street. This was previously considered and directed your COA administrator to review the submission. It took a while, but proper documentation was provided to the borough to show that the proposed wooden, non-clad windows for 26 South State Street would be an in-kind replacement for the historic windows that were there previously. The borough staff is satisfied. This would settle an outstanding appeal that the owners of 26 South State took from the previous denial to council for us to not have to hold a hearing on this matter. So I'd ask for your approval of this settlement.
Thank you. I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second?
Thank you. Any comments or questions from council on this? Any public comment? All those in favor?
If this is approved in the next 10 seconds, my understanding is that the owners of 26 South State would like to move as soon as the COA is issued, and any other necessary permits, but they are raring and ready to go.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes. All right.
That's it for me. Thank you.
Quite a report this evening. Thank you, Greg. Craig, manager's report.
Just a quick update on the PennDOT, the PICO work in the center of town will begin in earnest on Monday. They've done a little bit of preliminary work out there, and Judy has been kind enough to post the latest flyer information from them on our website. The last thing we're waiting from them is a landing page specific to the project, which I hope to have in the next couple of days. But other than that, that's my update, unless there's any questions for me.
I just want to clarify that the flyer per se that is on our website does have the PICO contact information for any resident or business owner who needs to get in touch with them with any comments, concerns, or questions. So if you're looking for their contact information, it is there on our website.
May I?
Yes, please.
And just to reiterate something we mentioned before, that in the event that PICO has not contacted any of the property owners yet, it's the intent of PICO to offer this as an opportune time to make connection to gas service if a property does not currently have gas service and is in the vicinity of the improvements being done. It's a time in which, since they have the street open, it can be done a little bit more both expeditiously and I assume efficiently. And also, if once they're done and the final paving is done, they're probably, if I understand correctly, the PennDOT will not allow a permit to open the street to connect to the gas service for 5 years thereafter. So for our residents along in that area, they should be aware that now is the right time to get in touch with PICO if they're interested in the gas service.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, anyone have any questions for Craig? Okay, moving on to my report and topics advanced from the previous work session. We've obviously already taken care of 2 of those. So I will entertain a motion to adopt Resolution 7-16-2025B.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 7-16-2025B, authorizing the Borough Manager to sign a PennDOT Winter Services Maintenance Agreement.
Thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from council on this?
You just let the public know that this is the agreement that we clear the snow from the streets, but then we get paid.
Get some money back?
We get some money back to pay for it, yes.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Any public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes. Okay, and I will entertain a motion to approve the certificate of completion number 1 for 156 North Congress.
I'll make a motion to approve the certificate of completion number 1 final for the 156 North Congress Street and 116 Jefferson Street Land Development Project in the amount of $54,969.08 and holding $5,600 as a maintenance period security contingent upon all outstanding invoices being paid and submission of a satisfactory title insurance policy.
Thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from council on this? Any public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes. Okay, moving on to the approval of minutes. I'd entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve June 4th, 2025 work session minutes.
Thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second?
Okay, motion and a second. Any comments or questions from council on the notes? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes. Budget and finance?
I'd like to make a motion to accept, subject to audit, the consolidated expenditure report for the month of June, totaling $210,778.86.
Thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or questions from council on the consolidated expenditure report for June? Any public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes. Okay, do we have any old business?
I actually had a question for Michelle. Do we have any dates on the Frost Lane sidewalk project?
Not yet. As I reported at the work session meeting, we just got the contracts back at that, on that day, I believe. And so we're waiting to schedule a pre-construction meeting with them.
Okay, and then will you be meeting with the homeowners along there when you get started with that?
It was not our intention to meet with all of the homeowners. All of the homeowners will receive notification from the contractor as to when they will begin work.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other old business? Any announcements? Okay, and we're back around to public to be heard. Do we have any public to be heard?
Good evening, Bernie Sauer, Newtown Borough. Just earlier, you had mentioned 110 North State Street. After you gave that approval, I heard no toilets left, meaning no more EDUs for the borough. Is that, so if there's a new construction project coming into the borough, there's not a chance to get an EDU anymore in Newtown Borough?
Not at this time. There is not. There are certain items that have to be done with the authority in order for the Bucks County Water and Sewer Authority and DEP to release more EDUs.
The DEP to release more to EDUs, okay.
So, yeah, this is an issue with Bucks County
Okay.
Sewer and Water Authority primarily, correct, Michelle?
I wouldn't say it's a problem with them. It is, there are certain things in the connection action plan and the connection management plan that the Bucks County Water and Sewer Authority and DEP, I should say, enacted that have to be done in order for future EDUs to be released.
Okay, so if there's an existing land development plan out there that is approved, that doesn't affect the EDUs, correct?
Well, that's a little bit of a hypothetical, but.
Well, no, there is already a land develop, sorry to cut you off there. There is already a land development plan approved that's out there right now. Those EDUs remain with that land development plan.
Yes, before a plan is approved or as a condition of approval, and you could stop me at any time. As a condition of approval, one of those conditions is that they have to receive an approved planning module from the Department of Environmental Protection.
Okay, so just last question. If there's a revision to that land development plan, does that negate those EDUs?
If the revision would require additional
More additional,
EDUs, then it would not negate the approval. The condition of approval for that amended plan would require additional EDUs and a revised planning module approval.
Okay, thank you.
Definitely a case-by-case thing, and I just want to note for anybody listening to this, that this is not a Newtown Borough issue. This is wider than Newtown Borough. Because it's a large issue for all the municipalities that connect to what's called the Neshaminy Interceptor, which is managed by Bucks County Water and Sewer Authority. We are trying to work on this to see if there's an option to allow us to obtain more EDUs, but right now DEP has tied it down to where we are right now.
And is this, I guess, the whole thing with the sewer plant that's proposed on the bypass, or is that
No.
No, it's not. That's
Totally
why I wanted to be
different
sure, I wanted to be clear that it's
Got
not
it.
just a Newtown Borough or our authority issue. It's much broader than that.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Bernie. Any additional public to be heard? Okay, yeah, it's all right with me, so there you go.
I figured I'll just say what else I want to say here. Okay, so I shared about the pattern with how the borough treated residents because of the move of the police station to where it currently exists. Now, I respect and appreciate the police officers. I've baked for them on a number of occasions. But as you would imagine, members of the public visit the station for different reasons on a regular basis. On occasion, I've even helped them out, and I'm not walking over to do that. It's just because you're walking past. Do you know where I can find the officer? I found a dog. Officer knocks on my door at 2 a.m. because one of the neighbors was in trouble. But the station also draws unusual, loud, and even angry people. I can hear them. And I stay in my house or walk out the back door, and I'm grateful for not having to deal with it. The location of 22 Liberty is not appropriate for a police station because of the negative impact and the safety issues brought about for the life of the residents here. And there continue to be ongoing issues: snow plowing, snow blowing at 4 a.m., right? Officers, especially the newer ones, driving too fast in the driveway, and increased risk of a collision at the driveway entrance when entering and exiting because of the greater volume of vehicles coming and going. I watched the recording of the July work session. I heard Greg say that 22 Liberty has served rather successfully for 25 years as a police station. I observed radio silence from council after his report. I want to understand what is criteria for success. So also in that report, there was an announcement that said that you couldn't come to an agreement on a financially supported rent, and that was topic of conversation this evening, right, with the Fire Association. Now, a very reliable source told me that the rent's been $1,250. And that the requested increase was $4K, at least that was in the patch. So that brought it to $5,250. I'm sharing this publicly because I want others to know, and numbers haven't been shared. So anyway, the monthly rent collect next door to me at 32 Liberty is $2,650. Now, if you double that, because 22 is actually 2 properties, that's $5,300 a month, right? From what I've heard, the Fire Association is asking for less than that. Now, even if the upstairs of Liberty is uninhabitable, like I've heard, right, it has a sizable extension in the back, which seems to make up for the loss of the second floor. Preservation. The brick houses in the first block of Liberty, also known as Robeson Row, inclusive of 22 Liberty, they were built in 1889. This block is located in the heart of the historic district. I happen to be an officer of the Newtown Historic Association, and historic preservation is one of my passions. Over the years, I've witnessed several things. Fire Association built a brand new historically appropriate 3-bay garage in 1999, inclusive of a glass enclosure for their 1892 wagon. They also restored their original firehouse to act as a museum to showcase their antique trucks and other items. The borough has done very little to maintain 22 Liberty. Contrary to what I understand, has been the responsibility when they signed the lease, right? And I know what's been done because I've seen it, right? Sorry to say, but the building and grounds are an all-around eyesore, front, back, and sides. Council, where do you stand on historic preservation of this property? I'm really curious, okay? Will this be another case where the borough sends the message, do as I say, not as I do? We'll have to see. Now, from where I stand, the borough has not had just 25 weeks or even 25 months to find a solution to this. They've had 25 years. 22 Liberty is not and never was the right location for a police station. No offense to anyone, okay? I implore you, councilors, as residents, to take a good hard look at this challenge, take more time, and use a much wider lens. Include residents' safety, ongoing concerns, and impact to our properties and our quality of life. The lack of parking, the traffic load, the driver, vehicular, and pedestrian safety in the front and in the rear. You can't walk down the sidewalk, you kind of have to go towards the street. Not to mention the fact that you have to watch the cars that are parked there, they're running, to make sure that one of the officers doesn't come out and hit you, okay? And historic preservation. There's also the impact to the community spirit. We saw that tonight. And your legacy because of your decision. Your role as counselors will eventually come to an end. And please, this probably doesn't need to be said. It doesn't need to be said, but show the officers in the Fire Association the respect that they deserve. I haven't been privy to your emails, your letters, your meetings, but I need to share that. I, for one, I'd much rather see 22 Liberty be returned to the Fire Association than have the borough along with the police department as a permanent neighbor. I realize that may not be the outcome, but that's where I stand. Thanks.
Thank you, Caroline.
Hello, Nicole Rodowitz, 135 Liberty Street. I actually want to add to what Caroline just said. It might be a good idea, no matter how all this works out, to have the Planning Commission take a look at the future of the fire department and where it stands. If you look at our comprehensive plan, unfortunately, we did not address it. It just says that we're good for another 10 years, basically. So that is something that I believe the Planning Commission would take on and try to help the council and the mayor figure out. Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole. Any additional public to be heard? Okay, then I would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes. Thank you, everybody.
topic.